Kavinga and Kavinga Chiefdom, I wish to place on record that of our 4 chiefdoms, Kopa, Luchembe, Mpepo, and Kavinga, Kavinga is the least developed chiefdom in our district. The Honorable Minister may wish to know that on Sunday, we almost lost His Royal Highness, Chief Kavinga, when his vehicle carried off into the river because of the poor road network in this particular chiefdom. And what makes it very complicated is the terrain in this particular chiefdom, to an extent that even with what we've got as our CDF procured earth-moving equipment, there's very little that we can do for our people in this chiefdom. Honorable Minister, considering that this is an emergency and not an ordinary road, whenever it rains, the whole lot of this chiefdom is cut off from the rest of the district. As an emergency and as a capital project, what can government do to ensure that the people of Kavinga can also feel that they are Zambians 60 years after independence? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank Honorable Member for Kanchivea for his very strong representation of his constituents. Madam Speaker, we sympathize with what is happening in the chiefdom of Chief Kavinga. And when he says, when the MP says that this chiefdom runs the risk of being cut off during the rain season, what I would ask is let him engage with us. It's a policy of this government that no communities should be cut off, so that we can see remedial actions that can be taken to ensure that the possibility of Chief Kavinga's chiefdom being cut off is eliminated. As the near accident that happened, we sympathize and we hope that that will not happen again. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, we are aware that this government is about to implement the World Bank funded rural connectivity road projects, among other initiatives that have been scheduled by the new donor administration, particularly to do with feeder roads. Is Kavinga Road among those that are likely to benefit from such initiatives? If yes, when are these roads, selected roads, are likely to start being worked on, not only in Kanchivea, but in other constituencies like Chama South and many others? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank the Honorable Member for Chama South for that question, wherein, of course, he ended up bringing in his own constituency. But as opposed to the question at hand here, that is the road leading to Chief Kavinga's place. That's why I said let the Honorable Member engage with us, see what can be done. As to whether or not it is on this program, if it was, the answer would have stated that. Since it has not stated that, it's an indication that it was not on that program. These are some of the issues that we have inherited as a government. As the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kanchivea stated, he made reference to 60 years after independence. That means for 60 years, nothing has been done. That is not to say that we should not do anything, but I think it just illustrates the magnitude of the problem that we have. If he does engage, we shall look at what can be done to alleviate the situation. With regards to the other areas, the program is being drawn up, and those that are allocated, work will start as soon as preparatory works are completed. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
I thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Honorable Minister, some of these crossings that have been mentioned, the bridges, actually service the two constituencies, Lukasha constituency on the north and Kanchiwia on the south. It being realized that it's quite difficult maybe for the government to do the roads, would government consider just constructing some of these bridges to ease the movement both within Kanchiwia constituency and across into Lukasha constituency? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I thank the Honourable Member for Lukasha for the follow-up question. Madam Speaker, with respect to bridges, number one, in a number of constituencies, there were acro bridges that were allocated, and the Kanchiwia is one such place, and I know what the Honourable Member has done in some locations where these acro bridges were allocated. In fact, wait now in the very near future to visit the constituency to commission one such bridge in his constituency. Now, the other type of bridges, usually they are part of the road that need to be done. If you listen to the tenor of the question, it was the bridges along Chambeshi-Chinkobo Road. The only bridges that we can isolate is where communities can get cut off. And in that case, we can focus on that particular crossing point to ensure that the community is not cut off. Ordinarily, it would be part of the rehabilitation or the maintenance of a particular road on which the bridge sits. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kanchiwia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, firstly, let me thank you for your open door policy. I say this against the background that against what was deemed unattainable or impossible for our constituency, and I make reference to Kaunda Acro Bridge. I also make reference to Aluni Acro Bridge. You gave your word, and as we speak, works are in progress. And I wish to say that it is not the doing of the Member of Parliament, but through you, your administration. And so thank you so much on behalf of Kanchiwia. It is in the same spirit, Honourable Minister, that I make a plea on behalf of my people that 80 kilometers of this particular road, Chambeshi-Chinkobo Road, is in dire need of your government's intervention. The same change you have brought to the people of Kaunda and Aluni, I have no reason to believe that you cannot do for the people of Kabinga on the Chambeshi-Chinkobo Road. And so my plea again, Honourable Minister, is to say that 60 years or 6 decades after independence, what difference can the people of Kabinga and with regard to this particular road expect from the new Dawn administration? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Yes, Madam Speaker, 60 years of independence and 2 years of the new Dawn administration. Changes are being seen, and I thank the Honourable Member for his honesty in recognizing and acknowledging the work that has been done in his constituents together with himself as a Member of Parliament. The people that he has made reference to, they can expect that this new Dawn administration will continue to work for them. What has delayed the implementation of a number of projects that are so badly needed in our country has been lack of resources. And that is why, as I said earlier when I was answering another question, is that the focus of this government was to come up with measures that will enable us to build up resources, our own in-house resources, or locally generated revenues, but at the same time place this country on a footing where we can then go back and borrow more responsibly and apply the borrowed resources on projects that grow this economy so that we can always pay back that which we have borrowed. So for that, I know that the honorable members like himself are supportive of these measures. But even before that, whatever little that we have will be applied to the need areas like the one that he has mentioned. So as I've said, I expect that he will continue to engage as he has done in the past. And more so when I visit his constituency, where I'll spend a bit more time with him, where some of these matters can be highlighted, and I and my team are on site. We can possibly even visit some of these areas. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The last member, the Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My concern and question is on the nature of the road, the Chambesh-Chinkobo Road. I want to ask from the Minister whether they intend to use a different technology to deal with that road, looking at the nature of the soil, where it passes through, and all that, than the generic approach that we have seen from all these sorts of contractors. Because where we have the challenge mainly in the country is that sometimes you contract, you give the contractors, and then they will come with the methods that they would have used in Kawata. And those are the methods that they will take to Chambesh-Chinkobo Road. If you look at the nature of that particular road, is government intending that they should also look at the different technology to construct that particular road?
Thank you. Next question. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central. Oh,
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'm sorry. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. For once I thought you were protecting me from a tough question, but we can handle it. Let me assure the Honorable Member for Chilubi that when we construct these roads, either bituminous roads or laterite gravel roads, the conditions of that particular area are taken into account. And that is why when we cost these roads, we take account of where they are passing. For example, the road is talked about, Loingu Chava Road, as an example, would not apply the same method, the same materials as a road elsewhere. Would look at that. I can assure the Honorable Member that the instruction that this new Dawn government has given, that this President, Hakainde Hichilema, has given, of right cost, quality, and delivery on time. Those three elements remain paramount in the executing of projects in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. The next question, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 337.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Mr. Miutu, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kalabo constituency, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A whether the government has any plans to, I beg your pardon, Madam Speaker. I'll start afresh. Mr. Miyutu, the MP for Kalabo Central, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development what measures government is taking in order to improve the state of feeder roads in rural districts countrywide. In response, Madam Speaker, to the question asked by the Honourable Member of Parliament, Mr. Chinga Miyutu, I wish to inform the August House at A that government is committed to improving the state of the feeder roads in rural areas countrywide. The following are the measures that government is undertaking. 1. Encouraging the local authorities to work on feeder roads within their locality and with their locally generated funds in the short term to medium term, using the equipment that most of the local authorities procured under the Constituency Development Fund. At B, encouraging the constituencies, those that have not, to acquire earth-moving equipment and give priority work on feeder roads under the expanded Constituency Development Fund scope. At 3, engaging the Treasury to increase the funding to the road sector. Government has since increased the allocation to urban and feeder roads from 450 million kwachas in 2023 to now 1.2 billion kwacha in 2024, giving an approximate increase of about 60%. At 4, engaging cooperating partners for collaboration in road development. Further to this, Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that government is currently managing the debt burden that we inherited in the road sector in order to ensure the sustainability in the provision of the same said roads. I thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, permit me to acknowledge some efforts which one of the ministers gave on Chipata, Lundazi, and Tumbo Road previously, because we are dealing with feeder roads. I'm happy that somebody from your right, Madam Speaker, is trying to fulfill or manage where the late Michael Sata, may his soul rest in peace, when he died, Madam Speaker, that road was abandoned. And now that there is a government which is thinking of completing that road, thank you so much for that, because that's what we need as a nation. Now Minister of Local Government, I know your efforts, you are trying just from talking to you now. Madam Speaker, I've got problems with this bench here.
You are protected, Honourable.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Minister of Local Government, I've seen you have appreciated those councils which are buying earth-moving equipment, and that is a plus to our country. The problem I have, Minister, is the problem coming from either your office or the Minister of Finance, where some of us who budgeted for earth-moving equipment, we bought them. Then there was a circular which came that we should start paying VAT on a government equipment. Is there a way that as we budgeted less the VAT, we shouldn't pay for a VAT for now, because it's not in our budget and we've got nowhere to get this money. And practically it's your own money, it's the money for this country. Is there a way you can let us get the equipment from those suppliers, because we can't pick them, they're saying we need to clear for VAT and we don't have that money, so that we improve on road networks in our district. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Indeed, Madam Speaker, let me maybe rewind a bit at the expense of sounding insensitive. I would like to also place myself on record on the offer of condolences to the people of the Republic of Malawi for the tragedy that befell them. We wish them well. In answering the Honorable Member of Parliament for Nyimba, I would like to say, indeed, there was a policy change sometime in or about February that compelled all motor vehicle equipment importation to be subjected to value-added tax. For those vehicles that may have been ordered before then, I think it's a matter that we can sit down on the table with the Ministry of Finance, and I wouldn't like to commit myself before consulting the minister responsible to find a solution. The only thing I can say is that this is a government that is solution-oriented and will not leave you standing akimbo and not attend to the problem that has befallen you as a result of this policy change. I'm sure we can get around it. Remember, even the money without the VAT component is government money. And therefore, I think there's a way to get around it. I'm very confident that the Minister of Finance, speaking with myself and all those that are affected, we can find a solution.
The Honorable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think before I ask my follow-up question, I also want to convey our heartfelt condolences to the great people of Malawi, who are our neighbor there, following the passing on of the Vice President, Dr. Saulos Chilima. Madam Speaker, a good road network is a catalyst of economic development. I'm aware that the government has cancelled more than 90% of the rural roads. And that has brought a lot of concerns from us, especially in rural areas. So that's why I hope when the Minister of Finance was talking about the Millennium account, I hope that maybe the people of Chama can also start smiling over the Chama Rundazi and Chama Matumbo Road. So my question to the Minister. Minister, you have continued to speak that the local authorities should be able to do these roadworks. What policy are you putting in place to ensure that these roadworks, which will be done by local authorities, are going to stand the test of time? Because I'm alive to the fact that we don't have road engineers in these local authorities. So what measures are you putting in place to ensure that these roadworks will be to acceptable standards? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member of Parliament for Chama North, Mr. Mutaya Chalo. I was admiring you earlier on. You were wearing sunglasses in Parliament. You look like Stevie Wonder. I wonder why you took them off. You looked swanky, as one George Mpombo would say. You looked very swanky. Let me, on a serious note, there, yeah, you look all right. That's called the swag. Yeah, thank you for that question, Honorable Member. I think the way to put it, at the expense of sounding like a broken record, I use the word sustainable way of doing things. Sustenancy speaks to standing a test of time. The situation as it was before was not sustainable on two fronts. In fact, three. One, the individuals, some of the individuals, and you may have heard our head of state, the president, at the point when he was most frustrated about how the contracts in the road sector, in the ministry that I'm privileged to run, were being awarded or rewarded to PF members. The first front is that some of the contractors did not even have capacity to do any road. Tick that one. The second one, Some of the contractors did not even do the roads, and yet they were paid down payment. That's the second one. The third one is that now we are very deliberate to making sure that all councils are capacitated with a fully fledged Directorate of Engineering to make sure that now the buck stops at the Director of Engineering to make sure that they do roads that will stand the test of time as against what it was before, where the Director of Engineering was simply but a colluding partner in signing the interim payment certificates for these, for lack of a better term, pseudo or bogus contractors to come and get paid at our ministry. Madam, as I speak now, we are battling with the debt burden, which debt burden is really difficult to dissect, even by forensic experts, because by their nature, rural feeder roads, they wash away depending on the amount of rainfall that each year receives. And so, under the old regime, it was business as usual. What we are trying to do now is to make sure that we decentralize even the responsibility that each council that has got a set of 8 equipment must be responsible to deal with their own roads, and we are going to go around to making sure that the money for fuels and oils is not going to waste and is being put in good use. That act alone, madam, is going to help us to do a budget cut of a tremendous amount of money which we can use in other needy sectors. Please understand that. How I wish the issue of how it was before in terms of the road sector and how it is now would be understood by all. That the route that we've taken this time around is much more long-lasting, much more sustainable, much more reasonable, much more logical than just giving party members contracts. I've said it before, and I can say it again. Some of these people are in here, in this parliament, madam.
The Honorable Member for Chirubi.
Having heard from the Minister about rural roads, which Chirubi is affected, I bear in mind that there were, I think, 199 roads that had their contracts cancelled under his ministry. Yes. Given that background, he is referring to, of course, cadres and contractors. I want to put it on record that in my constituency, there were those that were performing the road construction, I think, to some quality, and they reached some level. Is the ministry considering revisiting those contractors that performed well and can at least account for the works that they did, so that the rural population may not suffer because of this notion of contractors were given to the PF and so forth and the like? Are you considering revisiting some of those 199 roads that were cancelled and following up the contractors that performed?
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament for Chilubi, for that question. Indeed, there were some genuine contractors. They are still there. There were some genuine contractors, and they are still there. At the point of termination, at the point when we terminated, we gave the contractors the first right of refusal, meaning whenever funds are available, they will be considered first to do these works. But remember, it remains our prerogative right now, based on the information that we have, to segregate the genuine contractors and those bogus contractors. Sorry to use such a term, or pseudo contractors, those who just jumped on the bandwagon because they were members of PF. They were given contract to do roads even when they did not have the capacity. So it should be understood as such that even as I'm speaking to you at this point in time, there are some contractors who have been re-engaged to do roads based on the work plan that we have in the ministry. And so not all is lost, especially for the genuine contractors. I can give you an example. In, what's that constituency? East of Petauke, Musanzala. I think the MP from Musanzala is here. A company called Sachitari was given back the contract to do the bridge, the big bridge, because we figured out he was a genuine contractor. And so not always lost. For those that deserve, according to the view of our spectacles, they will be back on board. So no need to worry.
The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have adequately answered the question, but I still have a few areas of concern referring to the response you gave my honorable colleague, Honorable Mutachal. You know, for us in Mufulira, we have acquired all the necessary equipment. And it is sad that equipment that we have, which is at great cost to the taxpayer, is equipment that normal big contractors have to do roads, to do bituminous standard roads. And I'm thinking to myself, I see this very powerful equipment only grading feeder roads. You can imagine the low level of usage that we are having for this equipment. Now, you know that this is taxpayers' money, even if it was CDF. Under your ministry, are you going to have maybe a department that will be collaborating with RDA, because RDA is divided in regions, so that one, after we do these feeder roads, like in our case, we are almost done with feeder roads, but we have plenty of roads within our district that we would come back here and say we need them to be bituminous, so that with the already existing equipment, and in many other constituencies, I also know that Kitwe has equally done the same, and so on. You must have you must have that information. Are you considering going forward that we start doing our own roads? Of course, not to the high level, but at least roads that you will not hear from Mufulira that we are looking for roads in town and so on. When do you think you can come up with such a program so that we optimize the usage of this equipment as opposed to us just doing roads in the bush? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member of Parliament for Kantanshi. Let me concede here and now that Mufulira District, Kankoyo, Kantanshi, and Mufulira Central remain a shining example of districts that have followed the government policy to its desire. Because, like he is saying in his question, they've bought equipment that is fit enough to do bituminous standard roads. It's the first time, and I was fortunate myself and privileged to have been the one who came to commission those equipment in Mufulira. There was jubilation. It's something that had not happened before since Adam and Eve, Madam Speaker, in Mufulira. And also in Chembe. I hope the MP for Chembe was here. I'm yet to go to other constituencies, including Shiwangandu, when they buy their equipment, to help. Remember, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So to achieve the capacity of all the local authorities to do bituminous standard road is a long journey. This republic has been a country for a long time. This is the very first time, even in the constituency which I represent myself as a minister responsible for local government, it's the first time we have seen a set of 8 equipment bought in 1 year to do roads. So a development trajectory is step by step. Honorable Mumba, let me just say this now quickly, that if it weren't for the calamity that has hit this region, in terms of drought, where we have now had to make adjustments, proposal of adjustments, which the Minister of Finance will come on the budget to deal with the issue of making sure that our citizens do not go hungry. By the end of next year, you would have seen a remarkable difference in the area that you are concerned about. And so we remain confident that there will come a time in our lives that once you've done your roads, we will indeed collaborate with the RDA, which sits in a sister ministry, to make sure that we deal with the issue of upgrading our roads to bituminous standard, and once and for all. This is what our plan is. If it weren't for this particular drought, as the ministry, our proposal to the Ministry of Finance, which was going to be a subject of a consideration by the Cabinet and bring it back here to Parliament for approval in the budgets to come, was that we try and do at least 5 kilometers of bituminous standard roads in every constituency. Clearly, the natural calamity does not seem to favor our desire. And so we will cut the cloth to the size, the suit to the size of the cloth as we get along. And you will see the difference. Believe me, you will see the difference. And this is what sustainability is all about.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, you are going to ask a question?
It's a point of order, Madam Speaker.
You can go ahead.
Madam Speaker, I've been following the responses from the Minister responsible for local government and the rural development with interest. Up to the point where he decided, as a veteran, as a senior member here, decided to breach the standing orders, which clearly states that we cannot make reference to the Bible or anything that is contained in the Holy Book. In trying to justify something, Madam Speaker, regarding the issue of equipment, and I'll take him back, Madam Speaker, that in the previous term of office, himself and ourselves, members of Parliament, who had the same desire to procure earth-moving equipment for roadworks, we did embark on former green economy. You are so audible. Maybe that's why you are dealing with water now.
Honorable Member, is that a debate, a question,
So,
or a
Madam
point of
Speaker,
order?
we embarked on to procure some equipment. The same set that is being procured now. Of course, I know that the Honorable Member for Mazapuka then had challenges with the supplier. I don't know what could have happened for the equipment not to be delivered. But was in order, Madam Speaker, to try and insinuate that since Eve and Adam, because I don't even know, this generation know when Adam and Eve got into the Garden of Eden. Was it order, Madam Speaker, to breach the standing orders and start making reference to those holy people? When he knows that the road network has been a business of this country from the time of Dr. Kaunda's government. I think you're seriously guidance, Madam Speaker, whether now we can refer to the Bible and the scriptures of the Bible. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Of course, we are not supposed to refer to the Bible, but what I think the Minister was trying to say was, instead of using the word for a long period of time, he said during the time of Adam and Eve. So, Honorable Minister, I think in your future, let's avoid quoting from the Bible. Let's just say things the way they are. If it hasn't been done for a long time or it has never been done, let us put it in that way. Adam was not there or is not there. We make progress. All the honorable members have already guided. We make progress. The honorable member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Listening to the Honorable Minister for Local Government, you'd think now it has become a preamble to say no, PF cadres were given contracts. I would want to proudly tell you that in my constituency, we have UPND cadres who are doing the works, and some of them are failing. The question that I have for you, Honorable Minister, is there is an issue concerning our tipper truck. You approved, we released the payments, we allowed the CDF to sit, and everything else was done. However, this particular person, because of the connections he claims he has not been able to deliver the tipper truck up to today. This is making us fail to work on some of the roads which you are supposed to come and commission and say Lundazi has worked. He has taken your local government to court. We do not have legal representation in Lundazi. You have sent your lawyers from Chipata, and now it is a fight between the lawyers, our council, and Attorney General. Honorable Minister, what is it that you are going to do for the people of Lundazi, especially that you released the money and this particular person, I don't want to mention him, lest you say, no, you are quoting my cadres. But this particular contractor, up to today, is daring that there is nothing that we can be able to do to him, and he will not be able to deliver our tipper truck up to this time. Hence, making our work become very difficult and inconveniencing more than 100,000 voters in Lundazi. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, thank you very much. As I withdraw the phraseology of Adam and Eve, I would like to state that it is those two that were deceived by a snake that came to disturb them. And we still have those snakes moving around, the serpents. Sometimes they come in as, they claim that they are doves, and sometimes they become snakes. I withdraw that gladly. And in withdrawing this particular phraseology, how I wish, Madam Speaker, you could protect me from the Honorable Member of Parliament for Lundazi, who kept pointing a finger, a small finger, at me. How I wish you could just withdraw that finger also, so that we can work harmoniously. I hear you, my sister-in-law, you withdraw the finger, right? Thanks.
It was unknowingly, actually, from what I said.
Take it as a jest, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
I have heard your lamentations about this one contractor who seems to be giving Lundazi District Council a hard time. I have an invitation for you to come to my office so that we can look at the matter that has caused this blockage, where this individual, in what you seem to be saying in the name of the party, is arrogant and has taken us to court to adjudicate on a matter that seems to be sitting in a dispute. I am, as you know me, Madam MP, I am always on hand to attend to members of Parliament's plights, challenges, and how I wish I'd known this a lot earlier. I would have picked up the phone and summoned this particular contractor and also the council secretary to get to the bottom of the issue. I'm learning about this issue for the very first time, Madam Speaker, and as early as Thursday morning, Honorable Brenda, please come over to my office at 8 o'clock or 7:45, and I can assure you by 9:10, if the matter is not too intricate and complicated because it's sitting in the court of law, we'll get around it.
Thank you so much. The last member is the Honorable Member for Kankoyo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister of Local Government and my elder brother, Honorable Anthony Mumba, for acknowledging the unit we, the MPs in Kankoy, have demonstrated. Honorable Mumba, Honorable Mwila, they are PF MPs. But we put politics aside to put resources together. I also sometimes, Madam Speaker, feel emotionally attached when I see members of parliament being used to spread tribal division, hate speech, when the three of us have put tribalism behind to work together in Mufulira. Now my question, Madam Speaker. My question, Madam Speaker, is the Minister of Local Government in a position to advise what makes a complete set of road equipment so that we can quickly apply for funds in Mufulira? I thank you.
Before the minister comes in, there's an indication for a point of order. The honorable member from Pika, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to raise a point of order. Pursuant to our own standing orders, of course, I may not cite the specific breach because we haven't received the hard copies yet, Madam Speaker, as you earlier announced. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Kankoyo was given an opportunity by you, the Chair, to raise a follow-up question. And it's very clear. When raising follow-up questions, one has to be very precise to the point regarding the matter at hand. He veered off, started discussing tribalism in this House. And even when we don't discuss or debate ourselves, he started debating his fellow members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, I seek your very serious ruling with a serious punishment meted on that one who wants to bring tribalism in this House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I think you cannot make the presiding officer maybe enforce punishment on somebody. But from what I heard from the honorable member for Kankoyo, he was trying to appreciate the way the honorable members from Mufulira are working together, despite so many other issues around or going on in the country. But he was appreciating the oneness, despite the honorable members coming from different political parties or from different regions. And that is what we want. We want you, honorable members, to work as a team to resolve the challenges that the people in Zambia are facing. Let's work as a team. Let's continue working as a team without bringing issues of tribalism. So the issue here is working as a team, which even me as a presiding officer, I really appreciate. It's very nice to hear that the honorable members, PF, UPND, Independent, are working together to solve the challenges of the people. So with that spirit, I think we are encouraged to go with that practice or that idea with us so that we help the people of Zambia. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, you can respond to the question that was raised.
Once again, Madam Speaker. Madam, I also want to appreciate the preamble that was given by the MP for Kankoyo. And in answering a straightforward question that is seeking to know what is involved in the set of equipment, I want to say we must never, ever shy away from talking about the dangers of tribalism. We shouldn't, every moment that we have to give caution to how tribalism or ethnicity can damage a country, we must do it. Because there are certain people who have got this preponderance, this desire to damage this country using a tribal card. We must forever remind them, even in our sleep, that we are one people. The set of equipment that we require is a bulldozer, a grader, a compactor, a water bowser, an excavator, a tipper, a front or backhoe loader. That makes a set. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Question number 338.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Member Chanda Mutale, MP for Chitambo Parliamentary Constituency, is asking the Minister of Energy 3 questions. A, whether the government has any plans to electrify the following locations in Katikuluba resettlement scheme in Chitambo district, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. B, if so, when are the plans going to be implemented? And question C is, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, the answer to question A is as follows. The government of the Republic of Zambia, through the Rural Electrification Authority, RIA, has plans to electrify Katikulila resettlement scheme. In August 2023, RIA conducted a feasibility study to look at the possibility to electrify Katikulila resettlement scheme in Chitambo district of Central Province. The scope of work involves construction of 22 kilometers of 33 kV overhead line and a total of 2.5 kilometers of 400 volts overhead line at a total cost of 9 million kwacha. The project will cover phase 1, which has a clinic and a school, phase 2, which has a school from grade 1 to 9, and phase 3, which has a mini hospital. Once completed, the project will attract 700 initial service connections, or 70, sorry, I beg your pardon, initial service connections. Answer to question B, Katikulila resettlement scheme, which has already been scoped, has been included on the database of projects pending implementation by RIA. Electrification of the Katikulila will therefore be implemented once funds are available. Answer to question C, based on the response in B and C, based on the response in B, question C falls off. Madam Speaker, allow me to give additional information for clarity. The government of the Republic of Zambia, through ZESCO Limited, is also working on a project to reinforce power supply in Chitambo district by establishing a 2 by 2.5 MVA 33/11 kV substation. In line with this project, ZESCO has further engaged the District Planning Office to avail site plans for Katikulula resettlement scheme for possible establishment of an electrification group scheme, a scheme where an electricity network shall be planned to cover a number of customers in the area with the purpose of ensuring proportional contribution by each customer to the cost of the network. I submit.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I am very much delighted to note that the Minister has acknowledged that they will do something when funds are made available. My question to the Minister is, there shall be a budget that shall come at the end of this year. May he assure the people of Chitambo that in his work plan and the budget that we shall
come and scrutinize here and adopt and make it into law in December this year, he shall include the plans and the budgetary lines for electrifying Katikula resettlement scheme. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I can state that we are in the process of revising the Rural Education Master Plan, and we'll take note of this project for Chitambo, and we'll get back to the House if there will be that need. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kantanchi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, I have carefully listened to your response, and I would imagine that when rural electrification does the job, they will have to connect whatever it is they'll be doing onto our national grid. And obviously the power they'll be using is hydropower. Now, there are a lot of changes taking place under your sector. And we are where we were in 2015, 2016. And when things got better, we forgot about the famous solar or indeed any other methods of energy, Madam Speaker. I want to find out from you, Honorable Minister, and could it be the reason why up to now we haven't gotten any clear plan from your ministry in terms of the energy mitigation measures, other than the latest we have heard of solar power being mounted on all government ministries, something that I must declare, Madam Speaker, that I object, because that would be a very unnecessary expenditure. When is RIA going to change its strategy so that we start implementing what is now being talked about, which is solar? And apparently we only talk about solar when we are in this situation we're in of no water for power generation. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Honorable Mumba, for that. Madam Speaker, rural electrification is not only going to be grid connected. We are going to bring in isolated standalone solar systems, isolated standalone small hydros through the Get Fit program that we anticipate will be able to begin this year. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, mine is a rider on the follow-up question posed by the Honorable MP for Kantanshi. Indeed, Honorable Minister of Energy, we know that you are going to come back to us and come and give us an update on this road shedding, which is adversely affecting the nation in all the sectors, adversely. You have assured the people of Chitambo that they will be on your annual work plan next year, if I got you correct. If it's not, would you be specific, bearing in mind that you have got this challenge of satisfying your clients who are already on the grid in terms of power supply? And we are all now aware that the annual work plan of the RIA is going to be affected, because it doesn't mean anything to start putting poles and connecting wires when you can't get electricity to those people that need. Can we hear you with your assurance as to when these plans to connect this resettlement scheme and the Katukulula area of Chitambo is going to be done? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, I'll come to the House to issue a ministerial statement on Thursday regarding the status of power generation in the country. As for Chitambo, I've indicated in my area statement that this project will only be carried out when funds are available. And I did state that we are revising the master plan, not the annual plan of RIA, the master plan which covers the whole country, and we'll be able to share with the honorable members of parliament once this is done. I submit.
The honorable member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, the minister mentioned that the project will cost about 9 million kwacha. In my mind, I have a situation that is telling me that, like the previous member of parliament for Shuangando has just mentioned, that the previous speaker, sorry, that it won't make good reading to the people of Chitambo to be connected to poles when they can't have electricity itself. Minister, we've seen a lot of solar plants being commissioned. Don't you have in mind any investor that would come and invest, since now you did your feasibility study and you've seen that it is very lucrative to connect particularly the settlement scheme, which is an agricultural scheme, to electricity? Do you have any investor that would come and invest in solar plants in Chitambo? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, I don't have a specific investor for this type of project. However, I can assure the Honorable Member of Parliament that we'll be introducing mini-grids donated by Rockefeller Foundation, and we'll look at the needs of Chitambo and probably include in that plan. I submit.
Thank you. The last member, the Honorable Member for Chirubi.
Madam Speaker, in the time of climate change, when it comes to power supply, it's not just a question of availability of funds. It's also a question of having other initiatives outside the box of hydropower. Madam Speaker, I want to ask the Minister, as they revise the master plan, because the funds can be available, but the source, it will be limited by climate change, because we largely depend on hydropower. Whether they are considering exploring areas like Western Province, which have no much obstructions of plains, the Bangwelu plains, and many other for wind-driven power, so that Zambia can have a variety as he comes to maybe on Thursday, and as they are looking at the master plan, if that consideration could be made, so that we should not just rely on, when we have a lot of spaces that are away from obstruction, which can be utilized for wind power, whether the master plan would factor in that particular component.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, the energy mix is part of the replanning of the rural electrification. And as such, we'll take into consideration the natural, can I call it natural gift in that particular area. Areas like Katete, Serenge, and part of Luansha have got good wind. So we incorporate those in our plans. I submit.
Next question, the Honorable Member for Kawata.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to also send a message of condolences to the people of Malawi. May the souls of the departed rest in eternal peace. Question number 339.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Mr. Tayengwa, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kawata Parliamentary Constituency, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, whether government has plans to extend the Bombay Drainage Project in Kawata constituency to the following areas: Chilenje Ward, Jack Compound, and if so, when the plans will be implemented. In response to the question raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kawata, Mr. Andrew Tayengwa, I wish to inform this august House as follows. Currently, there are no township roads earmarked for construction in Kawata parliamentary constituency under the L400 project. The L400 project was being executed under the RDA, or Road Development Agency, and the contract has since been cancelled due to budgetary constraints. As I answered in A above, the project was cancelled, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kawata.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, I thought the question was actually talking about the Bombay drainage, not the L4 200.
Sorry for that. In fact, the Honorable Minister of Local Government, I don't know whether you've seen the question which talks about the Bombay drainage project in Kawata, that is in Chilenje Ward and Jack compound, covering those two.
My sincere apologies, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Bombay drainage was a project that was gifted by the Millennium Challenge account to the the Republic of Zambia. And it was there to serve a specific purpose. I do appreciate the concern by the Honorable Member of Parliament, going by what we have experienced in the last few years when we've had above normal rainfall. That has occasioned a lot of flooding, and I'm sure that's the reason why the MP is concerned. Honorable Member, I am sure you recall that shortly before we came here, you and I had a meeting in my office, at which meeting we discussed the issue of drainages, and the discussion was not specific to the Bombay drainage, but I would like to just repeat what I said to you in my office. That previously, again, I am saying this very cautiously, because someone may come and say, why are you always referring to PF? You cannot erase the past. Madam, the reason why we have flooding that the MP is complaining about in Kawata constituency, which include Kamwala, is because those who were there before us permitted for development to be done on the same Bombay drainage that the Honorable MP is worried about. And the evidence is there for everyone to see that that whole idea, the objective of the Americans gifting us with the Bombay drainage, was slowly being defeated by the proliferation of untidy clutter structures that were built on the same Bombay drainage. You can imagine how those who donated that Bombay drainage feel now, because it's not serving its purpose due to the human activities of dumping plastic that has blocked the drainage. I'm sure that those who did donate that do not feel motivated whatsoever. Until such a time, and let me take advantage of this so that I'm not called the cousin of the devil. Those particular buildings that were built on Bombay drainage will have to come down. And I want your support, Honorable Member of Parliament, including you who are from the other divide, so that we can get over and done with this issue of flooding year in, year out. The decisions were wrong. They were being done by people at lower levels, while those of you who were at higher level just paid a deaf ear and a blind eye. We want you to hold our hands to make sure that this infrastructure serve the purposes for which it was built. Only after we do that, maybe the benevolent, the philanthropist American people under the Millennium Challenge account will see the need to gift us with some more drainages in this capital city. Now you can go ahead with your point of order if Madam Speaker allows you.
The Honorable Member for Shwangantu, do you have a point of order?
Yes, Madam Speaker, and I know it is under your jurisdiction and not anyone else amongst ourselves to decide whether I can be granted permission to raise a point of order. And Madam Speaker, just permit me to join my colleagues, now that it is official, to equally convey the condolences on behalf of the people of Shiwangandu, to the people of the Republic of Malawi, for that untimely loss of the Vice President and the entourage he was with on the chopper. And in the same token, Madam Speaker, the people of Shiwangandu would like to convey their quick recovery wishes to Honorable JJ Banda, MP for Petauke Central, who has been in and out of hospital. Question
Is it a question, honorable member, or
Madam
is it a
Speaker, the
point
point of order, no, it's just that some people are heckling like Marukulas when their colleague is sick. Madam Speaker, the point of order I'm raising was 65. I don't know now in the new standing orders.
71?
71. That the information we table in this August House must be factual and verifiable. I had the privilege of being where the Honorable Minister is, courtesy of the people of Zambia. Madam Speaker, the Honorable MP for Kawata was asking for the extension of Bombay drainage, which drainage was done correctly as pointed out by the Honorable Minister under the Millennium Challenge account, which was an American-funded project. And all the infrastructure that was posing a challenge to the implementation of that project were brought down, Honorable Minister. And therefore, I'm surprised that the Honorable Minister was trying to apportion blame on us who were in the previous government of allowing infrastructure on that facility. Was he in order, Madam Speaker, to make insinuations which were not factual, that the Bombay drainage was now being encroached upon? And if it's happening now, Minister, just deal with it. But was he in order, Madam Speaker, to insinuate to the contrary, and that it is his prerogative to give me a chance whether to raise a point of order or not? I think you're serious, Ruhi.
Thank you, honorable member for Shiwangandu. I think when we are raising these points of order, we are supposed to be very precise. But the honorable member for Shiwangandu has debated the point of order and even gave a recommendation to the minister. So really, I don't know what ruling one can make. Since it's already a debate, there's a recommendation that was given. So it will be up to the minister to whether to take that recommendation. But if the minister feels that he can respond to one or two things that have been raised in the point of order, he can go ahead, as he's taking the last question from the honorable member for Kawata. The honorable member for Kawata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the reason why I asked this question is because if you look at the two places, especially Jack and Kamala South, whether you, even if we were to do some drainages inside the communities, we will still not find any place where to take the water, because the water collects within those communities. If you go right now and inspect the Bombay drainage, you discover that the residents are actually disappointed. They have allowed other people, including themselves, to dump garbage into the Bombay drainage. Again, on the other side, on Estarungu Road, I know you've been there. If you look at the Bombay drainage where it ends, I think on the other side we have it, but it has actually been buried by people who are dumping garbage. And that is the reason why we were asking if you could give or speak some hope in the people to the people of Kawata concerning the issue of the Bombay drainage, whether it should be extended, because without the extension of the Bombay drainage, we will still continue experiencing the flooding in Kawata constituency. As long as that Bombay drainage is not extended, then the problem will still continue. So what message of hope do you have for the good people of Kabata?
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much once again. Madam, I want the MP for Kawata to know that I am full of zeal to get things right. That's my daily bread. Before we think about extending the Bombay drainage, which is subject of availability of funds, which is also a discussion for a different day, we need to inculcate in our citizens that the drainage is not a dumping ground to begin with, because we will be flogging a dead horse if we just extend the drainage and people continue the bad old ways of dumping in the drainage, because it will not serve its purpose. But again, that I'll throw to the minister responsible for the country's space, that when there's a bit of fiscal space, the issue of saving our people in Kawata, Kamala South, Kanyama, and everywhere else, you may want to know that under the disaster response that came first with the flood, that came with cholera, we said, I'm part and privileged of the team of ministers that were trying to upgrade Kanyama in order to circumvent the flooding. That has now since fallen off because of the drought situation, and we have to now deal with the issue of food. And so, along the way, I'm sure we'll get it right. But we can also not ignore the fact that what we found by those who were there before us is that if you heard the president at one of his addresses directing me that tell all the councils that nothing will be built without planning permission, this is where it was stemming from. Because when there was time of flooding, the president himself went into Kamala and he saw how people were erecting wall fences in places that ordinarily they should not have been doing that. So the problem is pretty compounded, colleague. And so we will get there. Now, turning to my colleague from Chuangandu, you gave me an option to respond to his point of order. And his point of order was really pointing at the fact that I was not being factual in stating that there is construction that happened on the Bombay drainage. Madam, what used to happen during the time when he was the Minister of Local Government and Minister of Home Affairs, which are pretty related in terms of bringing sanity in our society, was that every time when the Lusaka City Council sat in a full council meeting and PF people would come with proposals of building these containers on top of the drainage, the leaders of PF at lower levels would be seated in those galleries to see which councillor was going to say no. And they would be punished for refusing to allocate those shops on top of the drainage. The problem may be that because those people became so ferocious that even the ministers were scared to go and deal with things on the ground, which is different from me. I go to Kamala, to the Bombay drainage, anytime I want. Even now I can go there. There's no UPND cadre who threatened to beat me up. In the past, they were endangered species. They know themselves. And the history will speak for itself, where when the minister responsible for local government tried to control things, and he was the chairman of the youth, they would threaten him. He's here to tell the story.
The Honorable Minister, let's avoid debating ourselves.
He's somewhere around. I'm trying to emphasize the point that I was not being fictitious. I said things as they were. The minutes, madam, of the council meetings are there for anyone to see. And if I'm challenged, I can lay them on the table tomorrow. To say, because in the gallery, remember, even here, if there's a visitor or guest who comes, they have to register their names. You will find all those leaders, youth, people from PF sitting in the galleries, waiting to say which councillor will say no to their directive. It is fashionable to say question, but that's the truth. I'm insisting and I'm standing firm on my ground that the PF ignored things that were going wrong. And this is why we are in this situation today.
We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chiruvi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I talk about my question, I think allow me, as an act of civility and fraternal bonds, to congratulate the new appointed Minister of Justice, and also to wish quick recovery to Honorable JJ, who is one of us, as well as those that have not reported as a result of sicknesses, and extend the condolences to people of Malawi. 340, question 340, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And let me also join my colleagues by conveying my condolences to the people of Malawi over the sudden situation that has befallen in that country. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Chiluvi is asking the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock a question in three parts. One, whether the government has any plans to conduct a cattle restocking exercise in Chiluvi district. In B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And in C, how many heads of cattle will be provided for this exercise? Madam Speaker, the response is as follows. Government has no immediate plans to conduct a cattle restocking exercise in Chiluvi. Also, Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity to remind the House that cattle restocking is the placement of cattle in areas where livestock population has been disseminated due to outbreak diseases. This has not been the case for Chiluvi district. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that a cattle restocking exercise in Chiluvi district was conducted in 2020, in which 38 beef cattle comprising of 2 bulls and 36 heifers were stocked. The objective of this program was to empower the people of Chiluvi with the cattle. The program was premised on the pass-on model, which was aimed at improving the livelihood of the people of Chiluvi district. Madam Speaker, regrettably, the program was not as successful as expected. To this end, my ministry is addressing the challenges encountered during the implementation of the program. For instance, most of the intended beneficiaries who were trained in animal husbandry were not the final recipients of the cattle, and this negatively affected the growth in numbers. Two, in addition, there was inadequate sensitization of the recipients regarding the pass-on program, which led to resistance by beneficiaries to pass on to other recipients. In B, Madam Speaker, once the ministry has devised the intervention to address these challenges, consideration will be given to restocking Chiluvi district and other districts where the program has faced the similar challenges. In this regard, I appeal to Honorable Member for Chiluvi to take keen interest in government programs such as stocking and restocking exercise, and partner with government in ensuring that our people get the full benefits of these interventions. And in C, Madam Speaker, the numbers of cattle to be restocked in a targeted district will depend on the need and availability of resources. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chiluvi.
Madam Speaker, it was difficult to follow the Minister's question, because logically I can divide it in two parts. In the first part, the Minister said it's not possible to restock because based on disease burden. And later on, as he was answering Part C, he indicated to the effect that restocking can be done or stocking. So I'm at pain to understand that. But having said that, Madam Speaker, I would like to ask the following question to the Minister. I think the Minister is availed with the 2022 Livestock Survey Report, which indicates that the Muchinga, Northern Province, Western Province, and Luapula have improved in terms of cattle, the percentage of cattle that has increased. And I think if you look at these provinces, Madam Speaker, they are similar in topography. That means that plains, water availability, and many other. And taking away that we have only 4.6 cattle in the country. And you see that cattle, traditional cattle areas like Southern Province, which accounts to 50% of that cattle, of the 4.6 million, recorded a negative. And because of the same topography, which is even included in the report, I think in the spirit of broadening the space of our cattle, because the cattle that comes from any of these cattle producing areas benefits everybody in the country. I think it's just logical that areas that have got a favorable topography, like these provinces that I've mentioned, could be encouraged to have cattle. I don't know when, if the Minister is not thinking about restocking, which is, according to the answer, is linked to disease burden. Are they thinking about stocking?
But, Honorable Member, what is your question according to the response that the Minister gave?
Don't say, hey, I'm giving a background, don't know anything, Mr.
What is the question that you have, Honorable Member?
My question, Madam Speaker, is that is the Minister, since he mentioned towards the end, as he was answering C, is his ministry thinking about stocking, since restocking is linked to disease burden, as he said? Is the government thinking about restocking, and if so, when? Because there is favorable condition for cattle in that area.
The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. What I was saying is not that Chiluvi district has got disease burden. That's the reason why we are not stocking. I was saying restocking can only be done in a district where there have been, maybe I should simplify it, where there have been an outbreak of diseases and it wipes the cattle. But the challenges, Madam Speaker, that we are facing in the Chiluvi district was that, maybe you heard, Madam Speaker, that it was, the district was empowered by 38 cattle, 2 bulls, and 36 heifers. But unfortunately, Madam Speaker, the 2 bulls were slaughtered. And also, Madam Speaker, on top of that, the beneficiaries, those who were trained by our experts, could not manage to get the cattle which was assigned for those who were trained. There was some resistance. And the people who collected the cattle are the people who were not trained. As a result, those people decided to do wrong things with the cattle that were given. And in that vein, we have decided as a ministry to first do our capacity buildings, train people to make them understand that if they invest in livestock, their livelihood style will not be the same. So we have to do that part. Immediately we finish, then we will be able to restock
Chiluvi district. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chiruvi.
Madam Speaker, I can clearly say that the minister was misinformed about the background of the kettle. Madam Speaker, maybe so just to array some misinformation, Madam Speaker, can I be protected? I want to...
You may continue, Honorable Member.
Over the 18 that was given at first, there was given to cooperatives that were trained. The 20 did not have a bull. And I think people of Chiruvi can bear witness that I am the one who provided the bull to those cooperatives, my own bull, as a member of parliament, to service the kettle. And given that, Madam Speaker, when it comes to where the minister says they were slaughtered, the minister is right where he says there was mismanagement of some sort. Chiruvi, culturally, is not a cattle rearing, and there is need for a lot of awareness. And as such, what happened is that there was some negligence about these cooperatives. They were fighting, and they could not manage the cattle properly. Some of it became wild animals.
The Honorable Member for Chiruvi.
Madam Speaker, I'm asking a question. I'm going.
Honorable Member, I think you are not supposed to debate.
I can ask you a question, Madam Speaker.
You are supposed to ask a question.
No, I just thought of dealing with the misinformation.
I think the differences, the misunderstandings, I think you can visit the minister's office.
No, because the minister misinformed the nation.
Okay, what is your question, the
Yes, my question,
member?
Madam Speaker, is that since the minister has already recognized the weaknesses which were there, are they considering using cooperatives that are willing to get involved in cattle rearing and train them in animal husbandry, as opposed to giving cattle to people that do not have interest in cattle? Are they considering using the cooperative system as opposed to just giving cattle anyhow?
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. I'm sure, Madam Speaker, those are the few things that I was saying, that before we restock Chiluvi, we have first to make sure that all those challenges the people of Chiluvi are facing are sorted out. How do we do it? It's through our extension officers. Right up now, Madam Speaker, you may wish to note that even our staff there is being pushed out by providing the right direction on how to look after cattle. So those are the few things, Madam Speaker, we are trying to make sure that we sort them out and sensitize the people and make people to understand what is involved in keeping cattle. That's when we can do the restocking. Otherwise, we have a bigger plan for the entire country that people must invest in livestock. So Chiluvi district is part of Zambia, and we will definitely make sure that the people of Chiluvi also understand the importance of livestock. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And I also wish to, first of all, congratulate our colleagues, Honorable Kasune on her new role, and my colleagues who swapped roles, and also pay my sincere condolences to the people of Malawi on the unfortunate accident in Malawi. Honorable Minister, are we able to account for those that ate animals as to how many were eaten by Honorable Fube and his team, and then how many turned into wild animals? Because this is the first time I'm hearing about cattle, Honorable Minister, turning into wild animals. So, are we able to account how many were slaughtered and how many turned into wild animals as we develop measures so that we can help them in future to be able to look after animals properly? Honorable Minister, I thank you.
Thank you. Maybe a point of correction. The animals were not slaughtered by Honorable Fube.
He looks like.
We don't know. We don't have evidence. We don't have evidence for that. The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, the Honorable Member. Indeed, it's not the Honorable Member who slaughtered the animals, it's our people who are farmers. And that's the reason, the more reason, Madam Speaker, we are calling for the Honorable Member to interact with us to make sure that those issues, we address them together. And in terms of how are we going to account what was given, indeed, Madam Speaker, we are making all those efforts to make sure that whatever is there is managed properly to increase the numbers. And we, like I stated, that the program is a pass-on program. So once we meet the best practices that the farmers are supposed to do, we'll be able to help the people of Chiluvi. Thank you.
Thank you. Knocking off time is 19 hours. The Honorable Member for Wengwa being the last one.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Let me also join my colleagues to pass my condolences to the passing on of the Deputy President of Malawi. Honorable Minister of Livestock, Honorable Fuve, Member of Parliament for Chiluvi, did mention that there are some animals which turned into the cattle which turned into wild animals. Now it's something which is, I think, very new to me, I think including majority of honorable members of Parliament. Now, Minister, have we ever had taken a tour or a study to find out how can a cattle turn into a wild animal? Because I think it's something which we must learn as a country. I think we need to do a research. Have we ever taken a research so that we see the miracle which has happened in Chiluvi? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Strange things are happening. The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. Indeed, that change of livestock into wild animals is very strange. But those are the issues I've mentioned, that including even our Honorable Member of Parliament for Chiluvi, we need also to make him understand what livestock, what cattle is all about, so that he will help us to lead in that constituency, to differentiate between the wild animals and the livestock. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Next question, the Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. The people of Kwacha have the pleasure to ask question 341.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And since I'm speaking for the first time, I just want to greet you and colleagues who have returned from home to Parliament and wish everybody a success. Also, I just want to also join my colleagues who have congratulated the new Minister of Justice and others who were also moved about. Lastly, not least, I want to join those who have passed condolences to the people of Malawi and the government of Malawi on the passing away of their Vice President. And we wish them God's grace during this trying moment. And now, Madam Speaker, let me get back to the question which has been asked by Mr. Simulenga, Member of Parliament for Kwacha constituency, who is asking the Minister of Health whether the government has any plans to construct a hospital in Chantete ward, which is in Kwacha parliamentary constituency, and if so, when the plans will be implemented, and also what the estimated time frame for the completion of the project is, and what the estimated cost of the project is, and if there are no such plans, why? Our response, Madam Speaker, is as follows. Government has no immediate plans to construct a hospital in Chatente Ward in Kwacha Parliamentary Constituency. The House may wish to note that government is aware that currently in Kitwe we only have a general hospital and no district hospital. However, the good news is that government is constructing 2 first-level hospitals, which are at the level of district hospitals. And the first one is in Chimwemwe constituency, which is Chimwemwe Level 1 Hospital, which I'm glad to report that has since been completed and handed over to government. We're just awaiting for His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, to give us a date for official opening. Secondly, we also have another Level 1 hospital in Kitwe District coming up. This is the Chamboli Level 1 Hospital, which is also expected to be completed, hopefully, next month, July. Madam Speaker, as stated earlier, government will therefore have no immediate plans to construct a hospital also in Nachitete Ward, in Chantete Ward in Kwacha Parliamentary Constituency. Therefore, parts B, C, and D of the question falls off. The House may also wish to note that due to physical space, the focus of government will be to complete ongoing projects such as the completion of the 36 district hospitals countrywide, completion of remaining health, the remaining health posts countrywide, and the implementation of the presidential directive for constructing maternity wings at all health centers across the country, which would include provision of sanitation facilities, power sources, and essential medicines in health centers and health posts countrywide. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And also let me thank the Honorable Minister for the honest response that she has given on the floor of the House. I just want to probably inform the Minister that Kitwe, and in particular in Kwacha constituency, the population is ever increasing. And this has given a lot of stress on the only referral health center, which is Kitwe Teaching Hospital. A lot of people that are going there, they are giving a lot of stress to the health providers there. And that is compromising on the quality of the delivery of health services. So, Honorable Minister, I know the government is constrained with numerous budget constraints, in which case funds may not be available to construct a hospital in Chantete, which is in Kwacha constituency. Why can't the ministry engage other cooperating partners outside the country to come and help us so that we can have a hospital in this area, which is having a very large population? What it requires is for the government to knock on the doors of these cooperating partners, and we can have a hospital just like in Chifubu, where they are currently having a Chifubu Level 1 hospital. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable, for your follow-up questions, except to say, Madam Speaker, that we did conduct a head count for the said ward, and the population was only 3,621 people. And therefore, this ward in particular would not really require a Level 1 district hospital like the one coming up in Chimwemwe. Except to say that currently, the Ministry of Health, working with the local authorities, are actually looking or actually constructing a health post under the CDF in this particular ward. And the idea was that this particular ward should have a health post, and that that population should their first point of reference should be that particular health center. And then when they have complicated matters, then those can be referred to the Chimwemwe Level 1 Hospital, which is now, in fact, in the last 2 weeks, we have started on the low level to operationalize it. But of course, like I said, still awaiting the full official launch by His Excellency. And then next month, the other hospital, which the Chamboli District Level 1 Hospital, will be also handed over. And hopefully before the end of this year, it will fully also be operational. So Kwacha constituency will be able to have 2 nearby big district hospitals where the people can go to, apart from the health post that we think should be completed soon to ensure that, you know, the community there are also facilitated. And of course, what the Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Mulenga, said concerning congestion at Kitwe General Hospital is true. And it is for that reason why we have come up with those 2 sub-district hospitals, which are within the same district. And so even if the money was there, we also need to ensure that we share that money with other districts that don't even have 1 district hospital. So for now, this is the position. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to join my colleagues in consoling people of Malawi over the loss of their Vice President. Madam Speaker, people of Chadiza are asking question 342.
The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me also join my colleagues who spoke before me to convey my heartfelt condolences to our brothers and sisters in Malawi for the loss of their beloved Vice President and the other delegation members. Our sincere condolences. Madam Speaker, Mr. Daka, Member of Parliament for Chadiza constituency, is asking the Minister of Green Economy and Environment the following question in 4 parts. A, what measures the government is implementing to curb deforestation countrywide? B, how much money was allocated to curb the vice as of November 2023? C, whether there are any policies in place to curb the cultivation and curing of Virginia tobacco, which is one of the major contributors to deforestation, and D, if there are no such policies, why? Madam Speaker, in answering the question, we have given a broader background or information. Under A, that Zambia's deforestation rate stands at 172,000 hectares per annum. The main direct causes of deforestation are agricultural crop field expansion, infrastructure development, and sustainable wood fuel production and consumption patterns, and late forest fires. Unless the drivers are addressed, Zambia may continue to lose forests. Deforestation and forest degradation contribute, among others, to increase the soil erosion, siltation of rivers and water catchment area hydrology, loss of biodiversity, and emission of greenhouse gases resulting in climate change. Madam Speaker, I also wish to bring to your attention that government working through my ministry has come up with initiatives that aim to work with the community in the quest of regenerating most deforested areas. These measures or initiatives are: 1, the government enacted the statutory instrument number 11 of 2018, which allows communities to participate in the management and conservation of the forest through the formation of community forest management groups. Currently, Madam Speaker, 258 community forest management groups are managing a total of 6.3 million hectares of land under community forest management countrywide. In addition,
Honorable Minister, as the time is 18:55 hours, I interrupt the proceedings and business stands adjourned. Day for resumption of business.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Business to resume tomorrow. The House is now adjourned.
Has been interrupted, and on the floor of the House at the time business was interrupted was the Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Honorable Mike Mposha, who was giving an answer to question number 342 that was posed by Chadiza Member of Parliament, Mr. Daka, and this was to know whether what government is implementing to curb deforestation countrywide and how much money was allocated to control the virus as of November 2023, and whether there are any policies in place to control cultivation and curing of Virginia tobacco, which is one of the major contributors to deforestation, and if there are no such plans, policies, why. So that is where the House business for today ended, and it's expected to continue tomorrow at 14:30 hours when business resumes. We have a look at business for today before we end our live transmission. Business of the House started at 14:30 hours with an announcement by the Honorable Madam Speaker, in which informed the House that she had received communication to the effect that in the absence of Her Honor, the Vice President, who is attending to other government business, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Ambrose Lufuma MP, had been appointed acting leader of government business of the House from today, 11th June 2024, until further notice.
And in the second announcement, Madam Speaker did inform the House that the hard copies of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024, which came into effect on 1st April 2024, were supposed to be circulated to all honorable members through their pigeons halls yesterday, Monday, 10th June 2024, as stated in the circular issued on Friday, 7th June 2024. However, Madam Speaker did regret to inform members that due to some technical challenges with the printing press in the printing section, printing of hard copies of the standing orders has not been successful.
And in this regard, the Honorable Madam Speaker advised the honorable members to rely on the electronic copies that were circulated earlier. She apologized for the inconvenience this may have caused, but further assured all the honorable members that the Office of the Clerk is applying every effort to ensure that the hard copies of the standing orders are made available to all honorable members as soon as possible. And after the announcements by the Honorable Madam Speaker, there was a speech that was rendered by the Honorable Madam Speaker on the first sitting of the third meeting of the 13th National Assembly, and this is in accordance with the Standing Order 56-1 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, which became operational on 1st April 2024, and provides that on the first sitting of the new meeting and the following official ceremony, following the official opening of the new National Assembly, the Speaker may deliver a speech to the House. It is in accordance with this standing order that she made this announcement, the speech to the House, and she informed the members that she was optimistic that concerns raised by the constituents will be brought to the attention of the executive on the floor of the House through the various platforms in the quest to find solutions to the problems of the people throughout the country. And Madam Speaker also said that she expected the House to sit for a total number of 8 weeks from today, 11th June 2024, and is scheduled to adjourn before or on Friday, 2nd August 2024.
And Madam Speaker began by congratulating the arm of government, the legislature, for being in existence for 100 years this year. She said that this is a remarkable milestone that could be celebrated by all the people, and that during this period the legislature has contributed greatly to the evolution of the country's democracy. She did say happy 100th anniversary to all the Zambians.
And after the congratulatory message, the Honorable Madam Speaker further informed the House that the members of Parliament that the House is expected to consider a total number of 30 reports of various committees, and in addition the House is expected to consider reports on the ratification of international agreements and presidential appointments, as well as reports from parliamentary delegations in accordance with Standing Order 146-1. And apart from considering the committee reports, the House will also consider a number of bills that will be presented in the second meeting, and some of them include the Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2024, the Matrimonial Causes Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2024, and the other bill to be considered is the Land Tribunal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, and the Zambia Qualifications Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024.
Madam Speaker added that other bills are expected to be presented and considered during this meeting. Further, she said the House is expected to consider the realigned national budget that will be presented by the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning together with its attendant appropriation bill during the course of the meeting. She said the realignment of the budget follows the drought situation the country experienced during the 2023 to 2024 rain season, which was declared a national disaster by His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
And Madam Speaker further informed the House that the other business expected to be transacted during the course of this meeting will include the ministerial statements by the Cabinet Ministers, questions for oral answer, and private members' motions, if there will be any. She also noted that during the second meeting there were some unfortunate incidents and conduct that were unbefitting the dignity, etiquette, and decorum of the House that led to the suspension of some members, and some of these included coming late to the House both at the beginning of the sitting and after the health break. Second was gross disorderly conduct, and the third, members challenging presiding officers without following the prescribed procedure.
And Madam Speaker did say that this conduct is unacceptable and will be met with necessary sanctions. She says it is a sincere hope and trust that during this period, honorable members will adhere to the rules of parliamentary practice, dignity, etiquette, and decorum over the House, so that the business over the House is conducted in a smooth manner throughout the meeting.
And Madam Speaker concluded by reminding the members to acquaint themselves with the provisions of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024, which came into effect on 1st April 2024, and this will enable so that the members so that this enables the members to familiarize themselves with the new standing orders, thereby leading to the efficient transaction of business of the House. So that was the speech by the Honorable Madam Speaker at the beginning of this meeting this afternoon. After that, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer, and we'll look at just a few of them that were considered on the floor of the House.
And the first question comes from Mr. Ronald Chitotela, who is a Pambashe Constituency Member of Parliament. He did direct his question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning. He wanted to find out in two parts. In A, how much revenue was collected as toll fees countrywide in 2023, and B, over the revenue collected in 2023, how much money was allocated to the following in each quarter? 1, road rehabilitation, 2, road maintenance, and 3, road construction. And in C, if no money was allocated for road rehabilitation, maintenance, and construction, why?
And in response, the Minister of Finance and National Planning informed the House that the revenue that was collected as toll fees countrywide in 2023 was a total sum of 2.94 billion, and this revenue was collected from 38 toll points comprising